Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time for our first hot topic. Inec rejects Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan'S recall petition. The Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, has dismissed the petition seeking to recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan of Kogi Central Senatorial District. The petition failed to meet the constitutional requirement of obtaining signatures from over half of the district's registered voters. Inec confirmed that only 208,132 signatures were collected, falling short of the required 237,278. According to Inec, the petition did not comply with Section 69, subsection A of the Nigerian Constitution, which mandates that petitions must be supported by more than half of the registered voters in the constituency. As a result, the Commission stated that no further action would be taken on the recall process. This recall petition was a part of a larger political controversy surrounding Akpoti-Uduaghan'S, who has been involved in accusation of misconduct, including sexual harassment against Senate President Godswill Akpabio. In the past month, the Senate Ethics Committee dismissed her claims and suspended her for 6 months without pay, intensifying the political tension. Joining us this morning is Evans UFELI, is a constitutional lawyer, to just give us more insights on this. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. All right, so of course we've seen it in all of the papers, and I'm sure you're up to speed with everything that has happened in the last 1 month or more, especially with Senator Natasha's claim about Senate President Akpabio, right? And one of the things that we saw come out of that was the fact that they were going to recall her. However, I think, jubilation is in order for Senator Natasha, who right now, INEC has obviously halted that petition because the amount of signatures that they needed, wasn't enough. But with this, I want to get your thoughts, your reaction to this, to where we are now before we dive right in.
Yeah, the truth is that the constitutional requirement under which a senator can be recalled is that you need to have 51%, that's 50% and more, okay, for you to have a senator recalled under the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that constitutional requirement is a threshold under which a person can be, recalled when the process is commenced. But if you look at her own case, even if they had succeeded in getting the number of requirements, it would have been challenged because at the beginning, fraud is inferable in the process. Her constituents who were to donate their signature for that purpose, for that exercise, were first told they were going to be given empowerment. They were largely misled. Then that went before they went further to the process itself. And after the first set of it, they left out the phone numbers, signatures, and so many vital information. And INEC had to come in, and they went back again before this last result that did not meet even the threshold. So it's an exercise in futility. First, it's coming in bad faith. The grounds under which a senator is recalled are grounds of ineptitude, inconsistency, lack of proper representation, and the rest of that. People are not supposed to be sponsored in bad faith to recall a senator. However, they have commenced the process, they have seen how rigorous it is, and they have failed in that process. With this, I don't think they can recall her because she's not unpopular in her constituency. She's one that have put in so many much legislative work and has given proper representation, in my estimation, and in the estimation of many of her constituents who have been interviewed on different fora, who have testified to her vibrant engagement and the fact that she has given proper representation to her constituency. She has been recognized by some media houses as the most performing senator in the country as we speak. So she has done, incredibly well. Whatever is going on here, we know it's politics. We know it's politics that is playing out. Many of the persons who have not done a quarter of what she has done are the ones sponsoring to bring her down. Even the civil society organization that was used to propel this recall, we later found out that they were not registered even under the CAC. Even though you can run a civil society organization without registration, but it falls short of so many things. And then it will tell you that it was just injustice being perpetrated, being taken too far. And I am happy that her constituency have come to show. And if you see the way they went about it too, you are supposed to get 51% of the number of persons, registered voters in our constituency that voted during the election, not just anybody.
So
yeah. No, not just anybody. But what they did, they just went there and they were looking for anybody they just see. They collect name, collect signature, collect address.
Which leads to my next question. I mean, we've never really seen any senator being recalled in the history of Nigeria. I don't know of any. You can enlighten me. But in this case, would you say that the recall process is generally to empower the people, or is just being used as a political tool, maybe to get some personal vendetta, which we're seeing here now? Is it to genuinely empower the people? Because I think at the end of the day, those signatures that you need are the people's signatures to say, yes, I don't think she's performing well, and I do not want her again representing me. But for Senator Natasha's case, would you say it's otherwise, whereby people are just, or some people in this case, are just using it as political weapons?
It was politics now, right? That's very clear, it was politics. What I meant by empowerment is the people at first were even deceived. They were collecting their signature, promising them that they were going to empower them, and it's empowerment, they want to distribute resources to them and all that. That's what they told them, and many of them came out to sign, not knowing that the purpose was different entirely. When that did not succeed, before they went out and they're just looking for anybody they see, not even people who are registered voter in the constituency, anybody they see that is willing, they just collect name, signature, and everything. So, forgetting that when it gets to verification process, all that will be thrown out because it will be inconsistent, it will be at variance with the record of Inec. Okay, and that's exactly what happened. So this is just politics. In Dino Melai's case, the reason Dino Melai, they were unable to record Dino Melai was that Dino Melai didn't have a problem with the National Assembly. He only had a problem with his political opponents. And the opponent orchestrated the recall. Bello and some other persons orchestrated that recall process, which did not succeed because the Senate had to give vent to it. That is the Saraki, the Senate that Saraki led. Okay. Now, in Senator Akpoti's case, she had a problem with the National Assembly. So if this has passed at the field, if they have gotten the requisite constitutional requirement at the field, should have been taken down immediately, because when it gets back to the House will, the leadership of the House will give a vent to it immediately. Okay? Because the Constitution says that after Inec has concluded its own exercise, they will hand over to the Senate President, who will now take an action based on the remaining available constitutional requirements. So our case would have been fatter if they have succeeded at the field. But they went to the field and they didn't get the process right there because of vendetta and because they were playing politics with the Constitution and politics of bitterness, which will always end this way.
Yeah. So, I mean, moving forward now, because most times when we do things, there are precedents that are being set, right? How do we ensure that in the future, if we're seeing cases like this, whereby it's not for the empowerment of the people, it's just being used as a political weapon, how do we ensure that things like recalls would not be hijacked by partisanship?
Well, recall will always be hijacked by partisanship. I mean, it's a soft target. It's, you know, where a senator is having problem with his colleagues, or a politician is having problem with his colleagues, they begin to scheme and look for a way to bring him or her down. That's exactly what they did. They have looked at her case, her situation. They've seen that one of the windows open to bringing her down is recall process.
Right.
Now, because they cannot do it themselves by fiat, they need the people's concurrence. They went and then deceived the people. Okay, lied to them, because they know that the lady is popular in her constituency. They lied to them that they want to, you know, they come and, you know, and all that. But it still failed.
Yeah.
So as long as recall is a process of taking down a lawmaker, a lawmaker that had problem with the politician or the leadership of the House will always be attacked from that angle.
But seeing how this has gone now, especially with INEC being straightforward in this case, right? Do you think, in a way, they're already gaining public trust? Because one of the things that we've seen in the past few elections is the lack of public trust, especially when it comes to the people and INEC, in terms of voting and being represented, or your vote being counted. So in this case, would you say that it's a step in the right direction for INEC, whereby people might start to trust them just a little bit more?
It is good that INEC did not allow itself to be used in this process. It is good. The trust deficit that INEC suffers is one that will take a long time
to rebuild.
For those who, yes, to recover. Because for those who were witnesses to the 2023 election and how INEC went about it, and how INEC was, you know, acting in court as if they were the opposition. And the rest of it, we tell you that INEC really, the trust quotient has diminished almost irretrievably. Now that trust quotient cannot be repaired just because they acted with honesty in Natasha's case. No. They still need to do more. They still need to do more. They still need to, you know, conduct elections where their staff and all that will not be caught, you know, collecting gratification to upon result, to, you know, mutilate records just because a politician has given them money, and then to declare wrongful candidates winners of elections. We need to see that happen. It's when that happens, and when we see the INEC chairman defending, you know, and putting forth the right apparatus for us to have a decent electoral system that can be trusted, that can produce the kind of leadership that will move Nigeria forward. That is the only time when INEC can be forgiven of his sins. Okay? But as we speak, as presently constituted, what they've done so far is not sufficient for any kind of trust.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see how that goes. Anyways, this is where we have to wrap it up on this segment right now. Evans, we want to say thank you for coming. It's always a pleasure having you share your valuable contributions. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so we've been speaking with Evans UFELI. He's a constitutional lawyer, and we've just been looking at the fact that INEC has rejected Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan'S recall petition. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we'll be discussing the World Bank approval of $1.08 billion for Nigeria's development. Please stay with us.